What's going on, guys? If you're in the market for a new gaming headset and you want to go wireless, two popular options are the SteelSeries Arctis 7 and the HyperX Cloud Flights. Now, before we get started, this is not a full review of either headset. You can find plenty of those here on YouTube. What this is a head-to-head comparison of these two headsets, because if you're in a similar position to the position that I was in, you're trying to decide between these two headsets, and for whatever reason, there's no content that I could find that compares these two side by side. Another side note, I don't do YouTube for a living. This is being recorded on a cell phone with a stabilizing arm and no microphone or anything like that. I've also got my dog walking around, so you might hear that in the background. So, quality may not be the best, but hopefully the content makes up for it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. The TLDR version of this is both of these headsets had deal breakers for me. Neither one of them is a clear winner. Alright. You still with me? Let's get started. Fit and comfort. So the SteelSeries Arctis 7 here on the left has the ski band here on the top, and the ear cups rotate 90 degrees. They don't extend at all; they just rotate. So as far as fit goes, you cannot adjust the headband. It's going to sit on your head. For me, that wasn't a problem. I got a pretty small head; it was pretty comfortable for me. That said, what was a problem were these ear cups. They are a mesh material, so that part was fine, but they're not very dense. It feels more fluffy, kind of like I guess like a feather pillow for comparison. So initially they were very comfortable on my head, but after about an hour and a half, these ear cups not being super dense came back to bite it. As you can see here on the inside, we've got this little, I don't know if you can hear that, just basically a cover. It's not even padded. Over the hard plastic that it houses, obviously, the drivers and everything in the headset. After about an hour and a half, my ear started rubbing up against that, and that was very uncomfortable. And I've got a pretty small head, like I said, so if this is happening to me, if you got a bigger head, that's probably going to be a problem for you. So compare that with the Cloud Flights. If you've had any HyperX Cloud headsets before, this can be very similar. Leatherette padding, nice and dense. Right here, I can't pull this side to side like I could with the Arctis 7. So it is padded if your ear, for whatever reason, starts to touch it. But this was much more comfortable for me to wear for an extended period of time. Didn't have any issues. Now, full disclosure, I'm coming from a HyperX Cloud 2 headset, so maybe that's why. Headband, pretty standard. Padding at the top, adjustable left and right. You know, the usual stuff. Since these are wireless, if you're going to walk out of the room, leave them around your neck. I'll try to get these both in the shot here. Cloud Flights easily win. Fit around your neck a lot easier, and I've got a pretty small neck to go along with my small head, and these still were a little bit too tight. They weren't uncomfortable, just I wouldn't want to walk around with them around my neck. So for me, the winner, Cloud Flights. Next, we're going to talk about the mute buttons specifically. So here on the Arctis 7, at the left side, right side, we'll get into all the features here in a second, but the mute button's all the way on the back. This tiny little button. As you can see, it doesn't raise up very far. Now, I think I have a defective unit, because whenever I would touch this button, it would toggle the mute. Not just pushing it, even touching it. So in trying to mute or unmute, I'd hear the beep in my ear like 10 times, letting me know if the headset was being muted or unmuted. And half the time it wasn't the desired result. So I'd be trying to mute and it'd be unmuted, or vice versa. So I think I have a defective unit with that, because I've reached out to a couple people and they've said they don't have any issues with the mute button on theirs. But in any event, the placement sucks. If you're trying to reach on the back, you're going to reach past all this stuff to it, and maybe even push it off your head. Now, something unique to this, the microphone, which we'll get to later, does extend and retract. When it's retracted, it is muted. So you could think, okay, well, no big deal. I can just push this mic back in and it'll be muted. That's how I'll do it. Well, sure, but remember, you can't adjust this headband. So clamping force is good, sits on your head nice and comfy, but since it's not super tight, as far as pushing that back in, when I tried to do that, I ended up moving the headset around my head. Was not a fun experience. Cloud Flights. So again, left and right. No button here on the back for the mute, but it's here on the left ear cup. You just push the ear cup. Not at the top, got to push it at the bottom. but really, really easy. Much better design in my opinion. So the mute button goes to the Cloud Flights. So, features. Features of the Cloud Flights, since that was in my hand, that's about it. You got that mute button. To show you this again, left, right. Got the power button there on the bottom, headphone jack, charging port, volume wheel. Now, this volume wheel controls your system volume. It's not headset independent. Is that good or bad? Depends. What do you want? Do you want it to control your system volume or not? I found that I did not. I wanted it to be independent. So that was a negative for me. Like I said, feature-wise, that's about it on this headset. Just plug and play, no software, nothing like that. Compare that with the Arctis 7. So again, left side, right side. There's that mute button over here. You got just try to get it in the video there. Volume wheel, turn the volume up or down. Controlled independently on the headset. So you can have your system volume at say 50, have your volume set for your game and Spotify or whatever the case may be. This doesn't mess with your system volume, which again is a big plus for me. Here on the right side, again, try to move this into the camera. Person there at the bottom is chat, top is game. So you have Discord or something going, this will control your chat percentages. Right in the middle, it's balanced. You can move it more towards the game or more towards the chat. Doesn't work for in-game chat, which may be obvious to you, but it will work with Discord is what I tried it with. Worked really well. So then down here at the bottom, we got a micro USB port, the charging port, which for whatever reason is proprietary. It's a mini USB basically. Headphone jack. And then over here on the right side, we've got the power button. Now, this power button doubles as a battery indicator. So the color of the light changes depending on your battery percentage, green, yellow, red. I don't remember specifically which one, like what percentage reflects what light color, but that's in the manual. I mean, if you end up buying this and you're really worried about it, you can find that out, but it does have some sort of indicator. Again, Cloud Flight, no battery indicator. Why? I don't know. Seems pretty basic to me, but it's not there. Outside of that, like I mentioned, the mic, pull it out unmuted, push it back muted, depending on what you did there with that button. Another huge thing in favor of the Arctis 7, as soon as you plug in the wireless adapter, which I'll get to later, for me it installed the driver automatically and their software suite. So I went out and downloaded their software suite. You can mess with the EQ and all kinds of stuff there. Much more feature rich. Feature wise, it's an easy win for the Arctis 7. So to give you a quick recap of that, I separated out the mic mute button because I thought that this was a much better implementation. But feature wise overall, easily Arctis 7. All right, next, sound. Sound is very, very, very subjective. Again, sound is subjective. What may be objectively better may not sound better to you. So if you know what you like, that's kind of what I'm going off of, that you already know what kind of sound you like. If you've had a HyperX Cloud headset before, you know they tend to be a little more bass heavy. The bass is not overpowering, but it is present. It's there. It's more bass heavy. Arctis 7, I mean, stark contrast, no bass, basically. Now, I mean no bass as in it's not super present. It's there. It's fine. Not great for music because the bass isn't really there, and I don't even really listen to rap. But even for me, the bass just wasn't enough in the Arctis 7, even if you mess with it in the EQ. Now, that said, if you're playing a lot of first-person shooters, these are great for picking up footsteps. I mean, I play Counter-Strike a lot. The Arctis 7 was awesome. Loved the sound of it. HyperX Cloud Flight did pretty well too. Just footstep-wise, Arctis 7 was a little bit better. Now, again, you can go in the EQ and tweak the sound, whereas the HyperX Cloud Flight is designed to be just a straight-out-of-the-box, plug-and-play solution. But overall, I did prefer the Cloud Flights in the sound department. Now, again, I'm coming from a HyperX Cloud 2 headset that I used for about 4 years before I finally broke it. So that may just be because I'm used to that sort of sound, but Cloud Flights are a winner for me. All right, next, microphone. So, again, Cloud Flight, very standard HyperX Cloud style mic. It is detachable. You can pull it out there, buy a mod mic if you wanted to, I guess. But, it moves around pretty easily. That's about it. Arctis 7. Pull it out of here. Very bendable. You can position it pretty much wherever you want, however you want. And I mean that's really all there is to it. You can't replace it, but it is nice to be able to push that in there and have it muted, even though it's hard to do in practice. Mic quality, again, you can find that sort of thing in a review. The Arctis 7 is a little bit more nasally. The Cloud Flights sound, I guess, a little bit less nasally, but at the end of the day, for me, it's a draw between the features both mics offer and the sound. Both are going to be fine if you're just talking in Discord or something, unless you're making podcasts or YouTube videos. They're both fine. That's a draw. So, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the wireless performance. Now, these are both wireless headsets, obviously. Wireless performance is huge. The Arctis 7 comes with I guess a dongle. It's basically a USB cable with a little hub, little circle that just sits on your desk. The HyperX has just the USB. It looks like a flash drive, basically. You plug into the back of your computer. Neither one of those better than the other. You can use both of these while they're charging. That's something I had to look up because I guess the reviews I watched, people just assumed that you knew that. I didn't because I never had a wireless headset before. The Arctis 7, when it's charging, it goes through the USB cable instead of going over wireless for your sound and your mic. The Cloud Flights still work over wireless. So even if they're plugged in, they're still working over wireless. Now, is that good or bad? I mean, I didn't have any problems with either one, so it's just kind of something to know, really, more than anything. But, oops, sorry about that. But as far as the wireless performance overall, oh man, the Cloud Flights, if you guys are keeping track, I gave the edge in fit and comfort, the mute button, and sound. The Arctis 7 only has features and the mic, which was a draw going for it right now. But man, the wireless performance on the Cloud Flights just sucks. Like, I've got to go from my computer room is pretty close to my front door. We'll call it 30 feet for argument's sake, which is realistically probably further than it actually is. But yeah, I was waiting on a package, walked out front to see if it had come yet, just to the front door, and the audio dropped, just completely cut out. And to try and test this a couple times to see if it was just I was too far away, I took a step back, audio, and waited for a second, audio came back, took a step forward again, audio cut out. Now, really all I have in the way is a doorway that I walk through to get from my computer room to my living room, and then it's a straight shot to my front door. So it's not like I'm going through a bunch of walls or anything like that. That's 30 feet. The range, I forget the number, it's 20 or 30 meters. One of these is 20, one of them's 30. But that translates to 60 to 90 feet, and that just wasn't the case. And that was really disappointing for me. The Arctis 7, no issues whatsoever with the wireless range. It worked great. So, I mean, if you're going to get up from where you're at and go to the fridge, get a drink or whatever, the Arctis 7 is probably the one that you're going to want for that. So, wireless, it's no contest. The Arctis 7 won. I mean, when you're using it at your desk, it doesn't matter, but the whole point is to not have cords to if you want to get up and do something, right? Like, that's the point of a wireless headset. And, yeah, the Cloud Flights just really let me down. So, again, to recap, fit and comfort, Cloud Flight. Mute button, Cloud Flight. Same with sound. Features and wireless, Arctis 7. Mic was a draw. So, if you cross out that draw, that's 3-2. So I guess technically the Cloud Flights win. They're the ones I prefer. They're also $40 more expensive. So they're, like I said, they're $160 right now. The SteelSeries you can find for $120 on Amazon, sometimes as cheap as $100. So I mean, for that price range, is it justified? It's like, well, it kind of depends on what you want. Battery life, both were great. I think the SteelSeries is quoted at 20 hours. The HyperX is quoted at 30 if you got these LEDs off, which you can't see when the headset's on anyway. Battery life's great, but at the end of the day, they both had deal breakers for me. The The fit and comfort of the Arctis 7 was the deal breaker, really. I mean, only wearing it for an hour, hour and a half before becoming uncomfortable. Coupled with the mic, how it's comfortable on my head, but the headset's so loose, pulling out or pushing back in the mic, that's a deal breaker for me for the Arctis 7. And just the wireless performance on the HyperX Cloud flights, unfortunately. Now, my hope is that, if you guys remember the original HyperX Cloud headset, that came out, it did fine. There are a lot of suggestions for improvement, and the HyperX Cloud 2 came out, and that's stayed out for basically since it came out about 4 years ago, because I bought that one right when it came out. I'm thinking the same thing will happen with the Cloud flights. They'll get it right on the next iteration, just this one's got some area to grow. SteelSeries, very well rounded, just wish they'd do something about the ear cups. And let me adjust the clamping force a little bit to where this, moving that mic doesn't completely move it off my head. So technically between these two, my winner, Cloud Flights. That said, I chose neither of them. If you want the best headset for the money, now I'm saying for the money because this is $160, I went and picked up a Sennheiser Game 1 headset. That right now on Amazon is $158. Completely different design. It's an open back design where both of these are closed back. What that basically means is there's a bigger sound stage, so if you're playing like The Witcher 3, the sound sounds like it's around you more. It's not for everybody, but I'd never tried one until I tried the Game 1s. You really owe it to yourself to try one, at least try an open back headset. It is wired, so that sucks, but if you want the best sound that you can get, the best package you can get for that $150, $160 price point, because these are supposed to retail at $150, I think it's the Game 1 pretty easily. Like once I put them on, it just smoked both of these headsets in audio quality and performance. So yeah, like this one a little bit better. Ended up going with neither of these, and they will both be returned, and I went with the Game 1s. But anyway, guys, that wraps it up. Hopefully this helped you guys make your decision, or make your decision a little bit easier, or at least gave you some information maybe you didn't have. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.